Okay, so I thought I'd do kind of an fall update video on this car because I haven't really done any videos on this car, so I thought I'd start with a fall update because since the last video I made on this car, a lot has been done with it, especially in terms of maintenance. Now, before I go ahead and get started, I just want to mention that that dent is still there. In my previous video, I mentioned that what happened was the car was parked on the street at school, and I was parked on the street at school, and then I came back, and there's just this dent here. I'm basically not going to fix it because it didn't affect the car mechanically, and it would just cost a ridiculous amount of money to fix it. So I'm not going to fix it, which it's just unfortunate because that's really the only bad part of the car. So that just kind of sucks. In terms of maintenance, one of the things I did was replace both front rotors and pads. Those needed to be done. I also went ahead and replaced the driver's side CV axle because the boot was torn and there was actually no more grease inside, so that kind of had to be done. The parking brake assembly also had to be fixed because it basically kind of fell apart internally because it hadn't been used in so long. And then I also did the inner and outer rear control arms, and then it needed an alignment. AC had to be recharged, and the front sway bar links were replaced. So that about covers it in terms of maintenance. And since I got this car, I got this car in November of 2016, so it's been almost a year with this car, and I've done about 10,000 miles, or maybe like 9,500 to be more accurate. So I put a good amount of miles on it, and it's been pretty much trouble-free. It hasn't left me stranded, and I've just come to really like the car, and I can see why people keep these Camrys for so long. I mean, they just run, especially with this one being the V6, it just runs so well, and the suspension on this car is just so smooth, and it just doesn't feel like a 22-year-old car. I think part of that might be because this car does have pretty expensive tires. It has these Michelin Premiers all around, as you can see. So that might contribute to why it rides so well for being an old car. But yeah, couple things that surprised me about being a 22-year-old car. I was surprised that it has a sunroof, and I was also surprised that it had rear disc brakes. This particular one has the rear spoiler, as you can see. The LED is burnt out, I think, so that doesn't work, but the third brake light does work. And then you've got the nice dual exhaust tips, which I always thought was a nice touch on these Camrys. I do have the power antenna. I did fix that, so that does work. So yeah, that about covers it for the exterior. The mirrors are kind of faded though, but that's not that big a deal. The hood was all chipped up when I got it, and so I just bought touch-up paint. I bought the primer, the touch-up paint, and the clear coat, and I just spent a lot of time touching up each individual spot, which took a ridiculous amount of time. But it's not perfect, but I mean, it definitely looks better than having nasty splotches all over the car. The car did have window visors, and I took them off, and it kind of left a little mark, unfortunately, but that's not the big deal. The interior, I think part of the reason why these hold up so well is because the materials on this car are just kind of top-notch. literally the entire door panel is soft, or this kind of rubberized finish. There isn't one part of the door panel that's hard that I can see, so I think that's contributes to that. This one does have power seats, which is nice. They don't work all the time, but oh well. In the interior, you've got, mine has a cracked dash, unfortunately. Not that big of a deal. Again, the entire dashboard was soft at some point. Now it's just kind of hard. If you hear that clicking, that is a security system thing, because this car did actually have a remote start security system thing. So go ahead and start it up. And that is Toyota's 3-liter V6. Go ahead and pop the hood. Three-liter V6 making about 188 horsepower and I think close to 200 pound-feet of torque. Yeah. One of the things I noticed about this car is that it's really not slow for a car being this old. It honestly accelerates really well. No complaints over there. So yeah, and the engine just runs so well for being this old and not really being properly maintained over the years. I do have a slight exhaust leak, but I'll go ahead and kind of rev it up for you. Yeah, I do have a slight exhaust leak, it looks like. Okay, so looking at the center stack, I guess I do have a tape player with the adapter, and then I've got, most of them have like a little pouch or little storage here, but this one has the CD player. Coming over here, glove box. It's an okay size. And I think mine has some sort of upgraded audio system, because this one does have the speakers in the little door pulls. And I mean, it's an okay audio system, I guess. Yeah, not really sure what to talk about. Got the sunroof controls up here, light. I guess I'll just go ahead and look at the back seat. Okay, so getting in the back seat, with the seat where I drive, I have plenty of room, no complaints whatsoever. I've had like a person back here, but yeah, no complaints about that. It has a good amount of room for being this old. Passenger side does have a little foot thing to move the seat forward. Ashtray, storage. Material does kind of follow through a little bit. Cloth, a little bit of rubberized plastic. Armrest. No cup holders, but yeah. 10,000 miles, almost a year, and no complaints. It's been pretty much a perfect car. And yeah, that about sums it up. Oh, let me turn on the power antenna, show that off. As you can see, it still works. Well, yeah. And it is really tall. So yeah, that about sums it up for this update video. Look forward to some videos in the future, I guess.